Well, hi, and welcome to the pumpkin fields. I'm Farmer Jones. Been growing these pumpkins for almost 40 years. And let's start at the beginning, because the preparation for growing is perhaps the most important thing. And we've been working on this land and enriching the soil. We've grown a cover crop of winter rye, which got up probably 6 feet high. And then we roll it flat, and we carefully plant the pumpkin seeds in amongst it. And that rye makes a cover, a mulch, keeps the pumpkins clean, and holds the moisture in the soil, and makes a great home for the earthworms and the other good creatures of the soil which nourish the pumpkins. So where do the seeds come from? They come from a pumpkin. And when you cut your jack-o'-lantern pumpkin, you will see seeds inside the fruit, and the seeds are carefully saved and dried, and they'll be kept for another year to be planted. And we come out in the spring, and we've marked the spot in the rye with a little nutritious fertilizer, so sort of like starting formula. And where we've dropped the fertilizer, we've pulled the rye aside, and we have to carefully turn over a little spot in the soil to create a good environment. You know what the environment is, that's what surrounds you. And then we take these seeds, and we're going to plant 3 or 4. Here we go. In this little trench, carefully place them in it, and carefully cover with the good soil. Pack it down, and hopefully we get a little rain to moisten the soil and sprout the seeds. So these little seeds will sprout, and they'll be nourished, and they'll begin to grow. And if there are any weeds, we have to come and take the weeds. Roots spread out underneath the rye, and then the fruit lies on the rye, and in the fall we come for the harvest. Also, under the rye is a great environment for the roots, which in a year like this, which was very dry, helped provide enough moisture to grow the crop. So we might take a look at some of these pumpkins in the field that were planted last spring. First of all, look at the size of the leaves, because when you come to pick pumpkins later in the fall, the leaves are all gone. But just look at that. They are enormous, and the leaves provide the food, the photosynthesis to grow these beautiful, beautiful pumpkins. We should talk about pollination, because most of the fruits and vegetables and other food that we eat, that we rely on, would not grow if it weren't for the bees, the pollinators. And you can see they have come this morning. They're in this blossom and getting the pollen. And then they'll be going and pollinating another blossom. This is a female blossom, and that will produce the pumpkin, which we see here. So here's a baby pumpkin that was pollinated by the bees early this morning, and see the blossom is closed, and that'll be off and running to grow into a pumpkin. And here's one that's even younger, and that'll blossom later this week. And see, the blossom is still tightly closed. So in 2 or 3 days' time, it will go from that to this, and then in a month to that. It's a miracle, just like you children, starting as little babies and growing and into successful people. Okay, we're going to talk about camouflage, which is a great word when you're talking about environmental things. But in the pumpkin fields, we have a great example of camouflage. And you can see the pumpkin that is only half mature and still green. Very hard to see. There's a pumpkin, perfectly camouflaged. Hard to see. I will point out, when I was getting this pumpkin last night for the seeds, see what's happened here. Lots of wild animals also love the pumpkins. It's not just you kids. And they love them because they like to eat them, to snack on them. So probably a woodchuck came and nibbled at this, which is one of the challenges of farming. And that kind of upsets the, for us anyway, the appearance of the pumpkin. But that's one of the things that we deal with in growing crops. Here's a pumpkin that got halfway through its growth, and one of our friendly deer came in the night and began to chomp a hole in it. So you can see that's not good for that pumpkin. So that'll be that. But that's part of farming.